Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all. You are once again here on the Tribune of Awakening, Consciousness. In international news headlines, we are witnessing a situation that is becoming increasingly complicated. The Europeans have just said no, and a categorical no, to peace. The Europeans say they want the continuation of the war in Ukraine. The Europeans are determined, Vance, stand up. Behind Zelensky, who is trying at all costs to stay in power by the continuation of the conflict, since he knows that if the conflict ends, his power automatically ends. So, Zelensky does not want the conflict to stop. And the Europeans, who are looking to get their share of the pie on the rare Ukrainian lands, now want to impose themselves as the sole masters of the place. That is to say, it's difficult to explain. That is to say, as there is an agreement between Zelensky and Donald Trump. And since Europe has been sidelined, now it's the ultimate opportunity for them to bring their favorite, who is Zelensky, closer to them, to win him over, to flatter him, to ensure he forgets the agreement that was planned between the United States of America and Ukraine. Since Europe says it also needs these rare earths, France has expressed its desire to obtain Ukraine's rare earths to supply its military industry. The French Minister of the Armed Forces, Sébastien Lecornu, had been clear about this. He says, we too need them for our own needs to supply our military industry, and we want these raw materials for the next 30 to 40 years to come. We are going to create redundancy. So, all of this is done in such a way that the Europeans have decided to meet in the United Kingdom. It's an extraordinary summit, a surprise summit that was not planned. This March 2nd, normally it's the March 6th summit. There is a summit, I believe, on March 5th. A summit that is supposed to take place on March 5th. But no one expected this March 2nd summit. And by the way, was this summit even planned? No. It was convened as an emergency. It's a response that the Europeans are currently displaying both to Donald Trump, to America, and to the whole world, as if to say, Europe is now ready. Ladies and gentlemen, in the name of this famous meeting, on behalf of this famous extraordinary summit held in London, under the auspices of Steve, Karma, in any case, something like that, the British Prime Minister. What did they say to each other? What did they decide to do? In the context of this video conference, that's what we are going to talk about. But before continuing, as usual, I ask you to share the video conference. Share it as much as possible in all possible groups. Share it as much as you can. Above all, don't forget to like it. Put a lot of likes and click on the share button. When you share, like, and comment, it allows the video to gain more visibility. But you too, who share and comment, it gives you visibility. Yes, because it goes with, when you share, it goes with, what do we call it? Your comments, and everyone who comments will see your different profiles. That's it. That's why I encourage you to comment. That's what it's all about. If it's a page you have an account. As soon as you leave enough comments, you'll see that others will also see your comment. They will subscribe to your different profiles. So share as much as possible. Leave a lot of comments because that's what it's all about. So let's dive deep, dear ladies and gentlemen. They are called the warlords. Yes, they are the warlords, the Europeans. They are determined to continue the conflict in Ukraine. They are determined to continue the conflict with Russia. Those who participated in this summit, the London summit, they declared, in any case, the summit has just opened its doors. They declared that they intend to continue military assistance to Ukraine. They intend to maintain economic pressure on Russia. Here is what was declared by Keir Starmer. So, the same behaviors they have exhibited for 3 years that have not managed to end the conflict, the same behaviors that have not allowed Ukraine to achieve victory over Russia, are the same attitudes they want to continue, knowing very well that they will never succeed. We have seen it here. In 2023, their so-called Ukrainian counteroffensive, which was doomed to fail, a counteroffensive for which they provided a lot of money, a lot of military equipment to Ukraine to stand up against Russia. But they could do nothing. It did not work at all. They pretend not to see reality when Donald Trump tells them the truth. They pretend. But why they pretend like this? You will have to understand. You must understand it. They need Ukraine's rare earths. That's all. They believe that Donald Trump's share of the pie is too much. With Russia having already taken a large part, why Europe have been sidelined? So, Europe, after all these military aids given to Ukraine over the past 3 years, Europe will not benefit from anything. This is the dangerous feeling that inhabits them, that drives them. That's why they are haunted. This is the first feeling. That's why they are very agitated. When we saw Emmanuel Macron very agitated, who announced that it would be necessary to open discussions on Europe's ability to deter Russia, we immediately understand that these people are eager for Ukraine's rare earths. And, you know, they used to steal the riches of Africa. Now we can say, thank God, it's almost over. Now, it's almost over. Now they need to find another source of supply. And they discover that there is the possibility of taking the rare earths from Ukraine. That's why they are very, very agitated. So, at the end of the European summit on Ukraine, the British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, announced an intention of military and financial support to Kiev. Europe, which finds itself sidelined in the peace negotiations, is obviously trying to get closer to the matter, as we were saying. So, for the moment, the amounts, in any case, the figures on what they want to provide as support, they have not yet given. The numbers, how much they want to send in cash, in kind, etc. They have not yet said. But it's the second thing to remember, the second feeling that Europe has. Europe wants to show Donald Trump that they too are present. They are capable of something. However, in reality, they are capable of nothing. So I repeat, the objective of this famous meeting, of this famous summit in London, the London summit, is primarily to see how they too can benefit from this rare earth matter, Ukrainian. But secondly, it's to mount a real response towards Donald Trump so that Donald Trump understands that these people, yes, I need to be careful with them. That's all. So here's what needs to be said regarding this news, regarding this London summit, which has just started today, March 2nd, 2025. And so, dear ladies and gentlemen, we continue to follow this news. Everything that will result from it, we will come back to discuss here on the Tribune of Awakening Consciousness. Thank you to each and every one of you. I will be back shortly with new updates. This was the voice of your one and only Samurai.